And so what we have to do is wait and see for people to come in to the chat and talk, which is always the awkward time of going live, Carolyn, is you start going live and then you don't know when the people are going to come in, if they get notified at all, because it's not like we planned everything. But whoever is in here already, which is probably you, welcome. And for those of you who are watching this on the replay, happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas is on its way. I mean, I think it's perfectly okay to say Merry Christmas before Christmas. I don't think anybody's going to get too offended by saying Merry Christmas before Christmas, because it's a thing. It's Vlogmas time. I've waited all year for this. I've counted down the days. We're going to talk about broken New Year's resolutions from last year. And I got to turn this music down, though. This is loud. I didn't realize how loud it was. And I have no mix here, so it's kind of like not good. Maybe that'll be better. Okay, that's better. Much better. So if you're here, welcome. So did I disappear when I adjusted the music volume? I'm curious for later Vlogmas moments. I'm not sure or not because there is a delay. Gary Millwood is in the house. Hello, Gary. Gary, I think you're the first customer tonight. Welcome to Vlogmas. We're putting up our Christmas tree, Gary, or we were putting up the Christmas tree. And so we got to the top layer and we ran out of time. This whole evening started with my transmission, Gary. Let me share my woes with you. I got a lot of woes, Gary. I got a lot of woes, man. My woes have piled up upon me. And here are my woes. Let me share them with you. The first woe is that while on my way to prayer meeting tonight at the church, this is a very important thing what we do at the church, the men's prayer meeting. While on my way, the transmission in the truck. If you watch our videos, and Gary, I know that you do, and I know that you appreciate all of our music, Gary, especially the music playing right now, which is wonderful. Right as I'm on my way, the transmission in my truck. Hello, Bringy. The transmission in my truck decides it's had enough and it's retiring. It's decided to retire in Florida. That's the last I heard. So we got to get another transmission because this transmission is retired, which is, I guess, a good thing. It had 140,000 miles on it. So, yeah. So that's how my woe started, Gary. The woe started with the transmission. And then we only got so far on the tree. And then, boom, it's time to go live, which is great because it means we're kicking off Vlogmas. And it's always good to see my friend Billy at Big Frog Barbecue cooking. Hello, hello, hello. It is going to be a great year of Vlogmas. 25 days of us being together in harmony and unity. And we're all going to sing that Coca-Cola song that used to come out in the 70s and 80s, or maybe it was the 60s too. I can't remember. I don't know. It's probably a copyright infringement. It's like, I like to teach the world. Remember that one at all? No, you're too young, you youngling. But yeah, it's a great song. Is the Dutch oven giveaway tonight? We're getting there. But it's not tonight. Actually, I'll be talking more about that tomorrow night. But we are giving a Dutch oven away. That is definitely happening. Gary said, I just spent $200 on my 98 Jeep today. Is that all a transmission cost, Gary, for a Jeep? I'm kidding, of course. Bridgie says, perfect harmony. You're right. That's true. Unfortunately, it was supposed to be the melody. So, yeah, that might be bad that it was the harmony. But yeah. Oh, the lyrics to the song. I'm slow. I'm sorry, Brent. The lyrics to the song in perfect harmony. That's right. That's a wonderful song. Remember that they were all holding hands around the world. It's kind of like now, all the peace and harmony out there. And, it's been a great year. Gary Millwood says, no, because transmissions that go out often on Jeeps, which I thought most of them were sticks. No, I don't know. What do I know? I guess the newer ones are probably I know that I wanted a Jeep for a long time, but I've been scared out of one. I've been scared out of the Jeeps. But I'm glad to see people already joining us for Vlogmas on this Festivus occasion, this most Festivus occasion of the Vlogmas 2021. We're going live 25 days. Excuse me, I just burped live. I'm really embarrassed now, but it's her amazing cooking. My wife cooks the best Pizza Hut that you've ever had. If you've ever had Pizza Hut, like authentic pizza, you know what I mean by authentic Pizza Hut, like real Pizza Hut pizza, my wife can cook it. She's amazing. So yeah. Anyway, 25 days live. We're starting tonight. If you notice, like, the ambiance of the house isn't quite there yet. We're not done with the tree yet. We're not done with decorating the house yet. We're not in full mode. We went to Mom's for Thanksgiving down in Tennessee. We went down there and it was great. the whole family together. Little Ezekiel, just little baby Ezekiel. He's wonderful. You guys are all veterans of the channel. You know who I'm talking about here. My grandson, who I'll never stop talking about because he's amazing. So we're hanging out with him, Anna, Oz, Crystal, Nathan. We're having a great time. And then of course the transmission goes out, when we're on our way back home. But nevertheless, we're late on our Christmas decorating. The church is doing the Christmas candlelight thing this coming Sunday. So we're very, very, very busy. And so that's what's happened to our decorating. I think last year we were a little late too. Same reason, I think. I can't remember. We'll have to pull up Vlogmas from Christmas past. Hey, that sounds like that sounds like an upcoming video. Just saying, Vlogmas from years past. I wonder how many predictions we've made that did not come true. Like the end of the pandemic was going to come in early 2021. Didn't happen. It's one of those things. You get all excited. It's going to end. We're all going to get jabbed, and it's going to come to an end. We're going to be singing the Coca-Cola song, standing side by side. I'd like to teach and you're going to sing it and gaze into each other's eyes. And what happens? I'll tell you what happens. Not the end of the pandemic. The Omicron is coming, which is like a new Transformer. Michael Bay needs to direct that movie, Omicron. And I just think it's really cool. It's like somebody just bailed right there when I said that. It's like, I got to go. Phew. Brent G, it says, are you Harrison Ford? My mom got me this when she was in Australia a few years ago, many years ago, actually, 20 plus years ago. And it shrunk. It really doesn't fit my fat egg-shaped head, but I wear it nonetheless because it's fun. And it's honestly, it's less of a glimmer of light bouncing off my noggin. So it's not as bright and reflective. But yes, we are going to give away a Dutch oven this year. Going to get more into that tomorrow night. We're going to give one away. The problem is I haven't found the right one to give away yet. And it's not even about money. It's more about like some of the Dutch ovens I've seen. By the way, is it politically correct to still call it a Dutch oven? Talk amongst yourselves. Work it out. Let us know there in the comments. Is it time to move on? I mean, are we not saying that all Dutch cook from iron pots when we call it a Dutch oven? What do you think, Carolyn? Should we move on from that archaic language of calling it a Dutch oven? I don't know either. Something to think about, something to discuss, something we should work on as a society while we're getting ready to sing our Coca-Cola song. I wish this video was sponsored by Coke. They have deep pockets. They do. They have a lot of money. And here's the thing. They could sponsor me and a whole lot of other YouTubers, and still they would get their bonuses. They would still get paid a lot of money. Big Frog is in here tonight. Gary Millwood is in here tonight. Gary, what did you spend $200 on though? What was wrong with your Jeep? Like I said, I'm wanting a Jeep. That's kind of what I'm wanting. Brent's like saying, she loves the hat. I've had a few people make fun of the hat. There's a couple people that like it. There's a video, I think it was our first video in Virginia, that it's cold. It's like 16. We weren't used to the cold anyway. That first February, we were here back in 2018. We were not used to the cold. So we get up to Blue Ridge Parkway, and we almost froze to death. It was ridiculous. But I had this hat on, and all you can see is like rosy red cheeks, but as red as this sweatshirt here. And I'm just red everywhere from the cold. My face was just absolutely chapped. How do you say that? Chapped? Chapped? Yeah, chapped. Yeah. Y'all know what I'm saying. Hey, guys, this is a lot more fun when you guys lead the conversation there in the comments. So, hey, man, feel free to expound, discuss, talk. We're talking right now about failed predictions of 2021, failed things you said this was going to happen in 2021. It could be personal too. Like you were going to lose that 30 pounds and it didn't happen. You gained 10, things like that. I was supposed to go live more in 2021 and it just didn't happen. The time just didn't allow for it. We made videos though. We only took 2 Tuesdays off from releasing a video. That's all. So we hit our mark on video release. But that's about it. Gary says, no, we have enough change. Dutch oven. Down with change. We want to keep it Dutch oven. We could call it like Northern Atlantic People's Oven. What? Northern Atlantic People? No? I don't see why. Northern Atlantic. Yeah. Windmill oven. No? Windmills may get offended. I don't know. You never can tell. when dad was stationed in Germany when I was 4 and 5. I went to German kindergarten. I know, right? Isn't that weird? But I went to German because he lived off post. We lived in Bootsbach. He was stationed in Gießen. We lived in Bootsbach. And so we traveled a little bit. I was young. I remember it from pictures. I don't remember a lot of the details. There's some images here and there in my head that I have of those days. But we went to Holland. I remember that. And they have the souvenirs. In fact, the windmill that you see in some of my videos with a little bit of shtick, little time travel shtick and stuff like that. That windmill was bought in Holland. Mom gave it to me. And actually, I broke it making one of these videos. And my stepdad, mom's husband, Dennis, he actually fixed it for me. I'm so grateful. Dennis can fix anything. And so he fixed it for me. It's really cute. You know, you plug it in, it lights up on the inside. You wind the little fan and it plays a cute little something. I don't know the name of the song, but it plays something. Gary says that it was the throttle sensor on his Jeep that messed up because you have to sense that throttle, man. I am not a mechanic. I am not a mechanic. I am scared. I am scared to dive into a motor because I'm always scared I'll do something and can't get it back together. It's like a paranoia. Brenji says, how is your mom and stepdad and dad? Dad's doing great. Dad's doing very well. Dad's doing so much better than he was doing a few years ago when I first started this channel. He's actually improved so much. And we made that video a few weeks ago. He's great. He's getting around. He's got to have a knee replacement, things like that. But he's still getting around. He's still happening at the VFW. He's Mr. Popular. I think they're going to elect him to Grand Poobah. He's the chaplain down there. He's happening. Mom's doing well. I mean, you know, she has health issues. Like a lot of people her age has health issues. And Dennis is having health issues, but you know, they're enjoying a great grandbaby. And of course, moved to Colorado. Then, you know, she got married in Colorado, moved back to Tennessee, moved back to Colorado, and now she's back in Tennessee. It's kind of like a long story of what all happened, but being back in the Tennessee Valley is kind of nice because it's closer to us. And it's also makes it great for mom. And of course, Oz's family too. They're wonderful people. They're just the sweetest people in the world. So it makes it wonderful to have the great grandbaby around. So there you go. There's a tour around the Marion clan. My son, Nathan, they'll all be here the last weekend that we do this the last weekend of December. I'm going to try to bribe each one of them to do a session here with us just to have fun and let them pile up and make fun of their old man. You know, let them just make fun of me all they want to. And that'll be hilarious. And you guys should enjoy that tremendously. So yeah, here's the thing about Vlogmas. Here's the thing. Everybody does some kind of Vlogmas, and everybody has a podcast now. You know, everybody has one of my favorite podcasts is Chris Sakai. And his channel is under Chris Sakai, if I'm not mistaken. He's not in here tonight. I'm hoping he joins us eventually, so we can post a link to his channel. I think you guys would really enjoy it. But Chris Sakai, he's got a great podcast, and it's growing, it's up and coming. But you know, everybody's got a podcast. Everybody does this. So you kind of buy the equipment and whatnot for what you do on YouTube. And so we kind of wing it because we don't really have what you'd call podcasting. I'm literally using a lamp from my oldest daughter's bedroom to help with lighting. And then another light from my youngest daughter's bedroom to help with lighting because, you know, we don't have a regular studio. So the audio is probably a little messed up too. Brent says, thank you for the family update. It would be nice to see your children on here. Maybe we can see the baby roll over in person. Man, Ezekiel is he's one of those kids where when he begins walking, it's on like Donkey Kong, man. The kid's going to be flying around. I'm telling you, because he's not a quiet kid. He's fully engaged, full eye contact. He's ready to have conversations right now. If everybody is in the room talking, he will literally start trying to talk over people, just like his grandfather. Yeah, I guess it runs in the family. We're talkers, you know. That's what we do. It's how we roll. So on our Facebook page, Bill Marion Life. Some of you guys have checked it out. Some of you guys haven't. You guys know I'm a pastor. I pastor a Christian Pentecostal church here in Harrisonburg, Virginia. No, I'm not a full-time YouTuber, but I play one on TV. You have to be a certain age to even get that joke there. But yeah, so I pastor a church and we stream our services, but we don't stream the whole thing. And that's so unfortunate. The reason why is because of copyrighted music. It's also, there's some other issues that I can maybe talk about in a future video or something as to why we can't stream the whole service or why it's probably not a good idea. But it's a shame because we have one of the best praise teams, probably. I think it's one of the best praise teams in the state of Virginia. And Carolyn, she's in charge of that. They do such a phenomenal job, and I'm so proud of them. They're just amazing. And so our candlelight service, I wish we could stream it. Oh, I wish we could somehow stream that. That'd be awesome. We probably could on Facebook, but can't stream on YouTube. But you want to make sure that you're a part of the Facebook community. It's not so much that I go live on Facebook or anything, because I don't, but it's because you can make sure that you get notified. A lot of times the people aren't notified when we go live. And the reason why is because I don't go live a lot, and it's a different format for our channel. YouTube has explained it to me pretty well. It makes sense to me a little. It's like I want to say, okay, I get it that that's the way it works, but I don't understand why it has to work that way. But notifications, you'll always be notified with a Facebook post if you are connected to that Facebook page and kind of participate. So you want to make sure that you're connected to that Facebook page. But I preach on that channel. You know, that's sort of who I always say that's my real. This is an alter ego. That's who I really am is a pastor. And so I'd love for you guys to be a part of that. And that brings me really to what I wanted to talk about. Is last year there was this idea of, okay, everything, it's coming to an end. You know, the pandemic, the nastiness, the misery, it's coming to an end. It's over. And that's what we were all saying going into December. And then boom, we had this crazy situation where an uptick, especially locally, we had this local uptick of people that had the virus. And it was insane because when we had that uptick, we had to close we had 2 services that we had to close down for weather, which is, I've never had to close down a service for weather. It was insane. So 2 Sundays in a row because the storm hit Saturday. And then we had 2 weeks off because it hit the church pretty hard. So we had to take a couple weeks off. Then we went to the parking lot for a month. So it was like 2 months or 6 weeks. I can't remember. It was either 6 weeks or 2 months. I don't remember. But it was like 6 weeks or 2 months where we didn't have service. Where we had service, but it was all online. I guess that would be a better way to say it. Or we were in the parking lot. And so we had a crazy start to 2021. It's turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to. But in some ways, then I want to ask your opinion. I think 2021 was more difficult than 2020. Anybody else want to, anybody else got to have an opinion about that? That 2021 may have actually been worse than 2020. Anybody in the comments here? Gary Millwood does say, he says a Bill roast. Great idea. I totally agree. I'm an easy guy to roast. I'm easy. I get done quickly, especially my kids, man. What's the old saying I think there's an old saying that says something that your bones are for your children or your children. I don't know. I can't remember how it goes. But anyway, nobody can roast you better than your kids. Your kids know how to get to you and hurt your feelings. They do. They know how to make it real because they know the real you. They know your weaknesses, inadequacies, and all that biz. Hey, I'd appreciate it too if you share these videos when they come out. Billy says 2021 does seem worse than 2020. It does to me. And I'm not trying to be negative on this at all. It's actually just a lead in to talk about how I'm hoping that 2022, I mean, I get it. I guess what it was is 2020 caught everybody by such surprise. It was such a different kind of thing going on than anybody in our generation. I'd say our generation, the generation that came before us, and really even the great generation didn't have to deal with that. The last pandemic at this level was back in 1918 or whatever. So that'd be the generation before them. So this was just different. So 2020, there was almost like a novelty to it. Get it? Novel virus, corona. Anyway, there was almost a novelty to the whole thing of 2020 where you're like, oh, wow, this is a thing. This is really going to happen. We're going to have to shut down for, remember this, a month. And then it was a couple of months. And then we just kind of shut down. And it shut down for months at a time. I mean, now we're in some places are still kind of locked down. Brengie says this year seems to go by faster than 2020 did. Probably had to do with the lockdown we went through last year. Christopher Hines says now snow is Denver. Man, I would love to get some snow here. I'm ready for snow. I miss Denver. I miss being, because when Anna was living in Colorado, I went out there to do the ceremony. We visited Pikes Peak, Rocky Mountain National Park, of course. I've been there before, but not in the past 30 years. Like I think right before junior high school, last time in Colorado. And it was amazing. It was just absolutely amazing. We had a great time. But Not sure that November's the best time to visit Colorado, or December or January, because it is cold and a lot of the great places are kind of closed because you can't get through there because of snow. But I'm of the opinion that 2021 didn't go as fast. I think, as far as, well, I'm not sure time, because it feels like just yesterday we were doing Vlogmas. But that has a lot to do with the fact that I'm almost 50 years old. I'm 47, so that has a lot to do with it. But I don't know. 2021 just seemed, gas prices are up by almost $1 here, a little bit more than $1, I think, in Virginia. And, one election after another one, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And the job scene, normally my whole life, it's complaining about no jobs. People would say there's nobody's hiring, nobody's paying good wages. And now everybody needs help. Our Dollar General store, of all things in the world, of all the places in the universe that you would never imagine shutting down, a Dollar General store. How does a Dollar General store shut down? But the one up the street is just down the road. I mean, we live here kind of like on a small mountain outside of Harrisonburg. So you go down the mountain and it's this little Dollar General store. And they had to close because they didn't have any employees to open the store up. So, those are things that are just kind of new, but still, I guess things like that made 2021, for me at least, more of a difficult year. Billy says, Big Frog and Cookie said, we had snow on the high mountains. Really? He had snow on the high mountains here. Man, that's insane, because we still don't. Well, I will say this, West Virginia, which we're an hour away from, we're 30 minutes from West Virginia. But as far as, I guess this is a better way to say it, an hour and 20 minutes from here, you get a specific weather change because of the Allegheny front. I talk about it all the time in my videos. Just watch the West Virginia playlist and you'll hear me talk about weather all the time, because West Virginia has the most unique weather of all of the Appalachian Mountains. It really does. And it's just an amazing place. They have snow, big snowshoe down where Cranberry Wilderness is, and Cass Railroad, that area of West Virginia, the southern part of Monongahela National Forest, they have a lot of snow. And over here at Spruce Knob, they have snow. So I shouldn't say that we don't have it in the region. We just don't have it in Virginia. And they're not predicting to have any snow in Virginia this year. I mean, if you go by the almanac. And I don't know, in my life, the almanac and where I've lived has usually been pretty right. Chris Ryan says, sorry, I meant there is no snow in there. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. I heard, this is what I heard, and from a very reliable source, that there's forest fires out there a couple of weeks ago, or the week before Thanksgiving, that was threatening some cabins, from what I understand. In other words, there's a collection of cabins and a forest fire out there, and they don't have any snow. And so, whereas they had forest fires the year before, but the snow actually, saved the day in the wintertime and it kind of extinguished the fires before we got there, because in Estes Park, where Anna and Oz lived, the fire was actually beginning to consume some of the property around them. We were all worried, and they got evacuated, but then the snow came in and everything was fine. Christopher says, it cost me $70 to fill up my Ford Explorer. When we went to Chattanooga last week, every fill up was between $85 and $95. So, I mean, that's a pretty big difference. Normally, a fill up for us had, on our videos and whatnot, been running about 70. So that's an increase. We're definitely seeing a pretty big increase. Gary Millwood says, or Big Frog Billy says, Big Frog Mountain had snow last week. I was surprised when I saw it. Big Frog Mountain. It's everything has to be right. Snow, it's as much as we crave snow. And I said this last year at Vlogmas too. I say it a lot. You crave snow. It's like if you're a little kid, you want it to snow. And a lot of adults like snow too. They just don't like the headache of cleaning ice off the windows and things like that. Even still, you're cleaning the snow. You're doing all those things. The conditions have to be so right for it to snow. I mean, it can be too cold to snow, which is insane to me, but it really can. Gary says, Bill, I'm 67, and 2020 and 2021 have been the craziest years of my life. So much fear. I agree, and I'm definitely not throwing this on you. I think I can speak for a lot of people. It has been a time where, obviously, as a Christian, I'm supposed to, and I do reject fear. You have to, because it is contrary to what we're taught by Christ in the Bible. You know, we're taught to reject fear. We're taught to be practical and have common sense. Like rejecting fear isn't picking up a rattlesnake and saying, "Oh, look at me, I'm not afraid." No, that's dumb. Don't pick up a rattlesnake. Don't. When you see our videos, and I'm showing rattlesnakes in our videos, we are a decent distance away, and I'm using Zoom and post edit effects to get the close ups there. Most of the time, Billy McDaniel and I got a little too close to the one snake. But both of us were like, okay, that's close enough. But it was hysterical. As soon as these tourists on this trail were like, "Hey, look, there's a copperhead." It wasn't a rattlesnake, it was a copperhead. Billy and I were like kids. We ran right to it, like with our phones, you know. But yeah, don't pick up a snake. But fear has been a constant theme, and it depends on who you watch to see how much they drum it up. And I've noticed that it doesn't matter what political party you're on; they all promote fear, but just from a different angle. And it may be your angle. You know, you like their brand of fear mongering more than another brand of fear mongering. So you might be one political persuasion and say, okay, I like this brand of fear mongering. I'm this political person, but it's both fear mongering. And so my hope is in Christ. It's not in the political situation in this country. I mean, or in the, I get the Apostle Paul said to be absent in the body is be present with the Lord. So it's not that I'm wanting to die or anything like that, but I cannot live in a constant state of fear. I just can't do it. But I agree, Gary, I agree with you so much. Just so much preaching of fear to where you walk around and look and say, man, people can't exist like this in a state of fear. You have to almost brainwash yourself to live that way. And we just won't do it. We're just not that I'm trying to be argumentative about policies or anything like that. I'm not going to be afraid. Christopher says, I hate driving with all the Californians ill prepared for the snow. I totally understand. I tell you who's done well. Carolyn has done an exceptional job driving in snow when we moved here, because she grew up in Florida. She's a Florida girl. I don't know why Florida girl. In my head, that's how Florida women talk, like when they're young. I don't know why. Maybe it's from the 80s and the Valley Girl thing. I don't know. Do you know a song that I had in my head earlier today? Just a couple hours ago, it was Georgie Girl. Do you remember that song? Some of you are old enough to remember it. Come on now, let's be honest. Hey there, Georgie Girl, and etc. I just had it in my mind. Don't know why. It was just in there. So yeah, no fear, not doing the fear, especially when Carolyn's driving in the snow. Again, having to fix my transmission, and I'm not a mechanic, it's going to cost $4,600. Wow, to change gears. All of it is change gears. I can drive a stick. It's like I want to say, just put a stick back in there. Is that cheaper? Can you do that? That'd be awesome. I would drive, because it's a 6-speed transmission. I could drive a 6-speed if it was a stick. Billy says, I just want people to be friendly with each other again. We don't have to agree, just get along. I agree completely. I totally agree. I remember when politics as a conversation piece was considered faux pas. Like, you didn't bring up, if you're at the family dinner, you didn't bring up politics. You kind of danced around it unless you knew everybody kind of agreed or something. Or if you were out in public at the job or something like that, you would never talk about politics out in the open, because you knew it would cost. But now it's like people they antagonize. They want you to get into it. Bryn says, of course I remember Georgia Girl. Without Googling, can you answer the question, where was that group from? Great question, because this is very interesting. I didn't know this until a couple of years ago. I'm actually pretty big fan of that group, though, because they had a wonderful blend of harmony, pretty amazing. As you all know, music is very important to me on the channel. That's why we use so much music. Our mixes are better. I hope you guys have picked up on that. The mix that we're using now, as long as you're watching at the right rate. When you guys watch our videos, make sure that you go in there to the little gear box on your screen, on your YouTube screen, and make sure that you open it up and that you're watching at least 1080p or 4K at least, because we're trying to video everything now in 4K, and our audio is supposed to be better as well. And I've noticed that it won't start me on my own system here. It won't start. It'll start me sometimes at 720 or what is it, 480, whatever that next one is down. I can't remember. And then you open it up and you have to manually go in and tell it to run 4K. So make sure you do that. Some of the colors in the fall just aren't as crisp, at those lower settings. But audio is supposed to be better too in those settings. I think so. So I haven't had any complaints lately about the mix. Maybe about the song choices, but not as much this year as we have in years past. When I was experimenting, I've tried to be a little more user friendly for people like Gary. Gary's always keeping up with our music, and Billy, of course. Christopher Ryan says manual transmission vehicles are anti-theft for Mully. I don't get that. Well, you retracted it. Bridgie says probably Georgia, but I'm probably wrong. Yes, this time, Brandon, you're wrong. They're actually from Australia, which was funny because we were talking about this, the Aussie had here earlier. I think this is kangaroo skin, right, Caroline? This is kangaroo skin? Yeah. And apparently kangaroos aren't cute, fuzzy, wuzzy creatures, according to Mom and my stepdad. When they got back, they were telling me about kangaroos, and they're kind of fierce, kind of very, very fierce people. Looking to make sure we're on schedule here. I would love to, I was wanting to have some of our students at the church kind of come up with a gimmicky band for our live streams and like jam a little bit. Billy, it's Billy McDaniel. By the way, everybody say hello to Billy. That's FKAWB Scott, in case you're wondering who Billy is. We have several Billys here because you got Big Frog, and then you got this Billy. That's Billy McDaniel. Billy McDaniel's been on 3 or 4 videos with us this year hiking. Just amazing time. I call him Virginia and West Virginia's best hiking guide. He doesn't actually do that by profession, but he should. He's amazing. If you go out hiking with Billy in the woods, he's going to be able to, you're going to find stuff in the forest that you did not even know was edible. That's edible. Like he's pulling branches off of stuff and saying, here, you can eat this. And I wouldn't know the difference. So I go, okay. It's funny. Gary says, your mix is great. Like I always say, I love your music. Gary, you're awesome. Billy says, word. The other thing is cancel culture this year. I know I'm talking about all these controversial subjects, and I'm not trying to. I'm just kind of, it's like a year in review to start Vlogmas out. Maybe that's what we're doing. I don't know. Just go with it. The cancel culture, because Billy said word, and when I hear word now, I think of David Chappelle. Word. I don't know. Do you think it when somebody says word? I don't know. David Chappelle got in hot water, and it's something he said about the trans community or something. Whatever, but the cancel culture is still in full swing. So you don't want to get yourself canceled. That's a big deal. Like you've got somebody somebody says something wrong 20 years ago and they pull it back up on on their tweets or a YouTube video and you're out, Fredo. You're out of whatever you're doing. Everybody cancels you and you have to resign from whatever you're doing. And they tried to cancel David Chappelle, but it didn't work out. Then you have several court cases. What's that guy's name? Smollett, Julius, Jolie. I can't remember the guy's name. Somebody can help me with it. But his trial started today. He tried to claim that a hate crime or something had happened. I don't remember what happened. Some kind of deal happened, but that his trial starts today. But again, cancel culture and a lot of tensions in 2021. Billy says starts with a W, ends with a D, and or in the middle. Word. I had to think about it. I'm a little slow. What you guys don't see in the videos where Billy McDaniel and I are hiking is how I'm having to stop every 7 or 8 minutes and breathe and like take nitrous and insulin and sleep for an hour while he's jogging back and forth up to the top of the mountain and back. Guy's in supernatural shape. He's my age. I think I'm older. No, I can't remember who's older, but you're the same age, and it's just hilarious. Yeah, the dude that faked the hate crime, Chris, that guy. Like, I don't understand why a man got to fake a hate crime. There's enough of them. We got enough of them, unfortunately. But yeah. I want to cancel the later 40s too. Ed Hoffis. Hey, welcome, Ed. Not seen you on here before. Welcome. Took a motorcycle trip late summer and rode Highland Scenic Highway. Oh my gosh, we love that place. After watching your video, absolutely fell in love with West Virginia. Thank you. Ed, first of all, it's always a pleasure to have somebody new on Vlogmas. Welcome. But also, That's a wonderful place. And that whole area, I'm sure you noticed this on the way in, is wonderful. And if you keep trucking on down back into Virginia, but down at that end of the state, gosh, I can't remember the road. You have to watch one of the last 3 or 4 videos I made. You get into that Burke's what's it called? Burke's Garden. And that's an amazing motorcycle riding place. And we don't ride motorcycles. We have friends that do. We got a lot of Jeep friends that and friends of the channel that ride down there, and they love that whole area. But Highland Scenic Highway is special. There's that I call it West Virginia's best kept secret. I've even had people inbox me. I'm not kidding, and they're talking rather straight. They're nice, they're polite, but they mean what they're saying. Hey, Bill, love your videos. We really appreciate your authenticity, your humor, whatever. Your charming good looks. No, they never say that. We really appreciate you. But could you not talk so much about these places in West Virginia because they don't want them to get crowded? But I'm like, look, it's an amazing place. These places are awesome. West Virginia, and again, I'm not from there. I'm not sponsored by the state of West Virginia, even though I should be. West Virginia, you need to show me some love. Come on now. Got friends in West Virginia, Curly Ray, Marine Ray. We love people in West Virginia. We have friends of the channel, West Virginia. You got to understand something, though. People in the deep South, where I'm from, around Chattanooga, Georgia, that whole area, North Carolina, those are beautiful places. The Smoky Mountains, Unicoi Mountains, Cumberlands, wonderful places. But West Virginia it's not that. It's something completely different, which is why you hear me talk about it so much. So, Ed, I appreciate you saying that. I'm glad you're seeing it. Bryn G's from West Virginia, the northern part, but it's still very beautiful up there. You're talking about the sort of the middle of the Alleghenies, the lower Allegheny Mountains, beautiful area. Christopher says napping is more important for us. 40 something. Boy, you got that right. Dennis Jackson is in the house. Hey, brother Teresa and I are just joining. Dennis, you know what? I was thinking the other day when I was thinking about Vlogmas and what we're going to talk about. I was like, I hope Dennis shows up. So great. I'm glad you're here. Brent says, I remember somebody I had words with on one of your videos that said to stay away. You ended up putting him in his place. Did I? I don't remember because I don't remember what I said, but I remember you swapped out. That's why somebody that's been creating for you guys that watch videos that you're not YouTube creators. One of the reasons why you want to be careful about popping off to a content creator, even if they're, like me, they're just, man, they're having a great time meeting people, talking to people. They're not doing it every day for a living or anything like that. One of the things you develop relationships, you develop friendships and relationships. And what happens is people will defend you, when you kind of pop off to the content creator, somebody, Brand will come in there and go, West Virginia is awesome, or whatever. And they kind of get into it. And I was like, okay, I don't want Bryn to get her. Didn't want somebody to hurt her feelings or whatever. I'm always worried, because my mom loves me, and I'm always worried somebody's going to say something and mom's going to see it, and then your mom's going to do that mom thing. I don't know if you guys have a mom like mine, but yeah, she will. Brent says you did it very, very nicely. Well, good. You're much nicer than I. You know what? It's my new. It's not new. I've been like this for about 7-8 years. You talk to Carolyn. I never complain in restaurants anymore. I used to be a real jerk when I was younger, because I'd always worked in service industries when I was young, and there was a standard. There was, I felt like there should be a sense of excellence and pride about your job when you're serving, or if you're doing hotel work or whatever. And I guess you could just say God transformed my life to be more compassionate and understanding that people have bad days. People have miserable moments. People drop the ball, and society changes. Right now is probably the worst time that in my existence for customer service. And a lot of these restaurants can't keep employees. And I don't know the fix to that, guys, without being political. And I don't want to be political. So maybe we just don't go there. But the point I'm trying to make is it's a tough time for customer service. We just don't talk about it on the channel much. And if we do, we do so politely. There was a video recently where, and I can't remember which one it was now. It was somewhere we went. It was Sandstone. And I'm not afraid to say the Sandstone down at Natural Bridge. What is it called? New River Gorge National Park. The newest national park in the family of national parks. And Sandstone, we just didn't it's beautiful waterfalls, but it wasn't great. We just didn't have a great time. But you have to understand something. Even when we make a video, some of it in our videos, I can't speak for other content creators, but a lot of times, man, I'm more excited about a video. My excitement about a video, I should say, is contingent on the type of good time Carol and I are having. What kind of time are we having? Are we having a great time, or are we kind of bored? If we're having a great time, we have been to places that weren't even as nice as Sandstone and made a bigger deal about it, like talked it up because we were having so much fun. So I always want the video to reflect what we're experiencing as opposed, and I think I said this on a Breathe video where most of my videos, by the way, if you ever want behind the scenes stuff, that's the channel to go to. I've got people wanting me to do different. There's some people that think I need to put my Breathe stuff on this channel and all that stuff, but I did that in 2019 and it didn't work out well. Anyway, back to the comments here. Ed comes back and says, rode from Michigan and stayed in Centerville. Excellent. And rode over to Highland Scenic Highway, then took all the back roads over to Waynesboro. Nice drive. Wonderful drive. All the way to Virginia Beach. Amazing place and people. Virginia Beach, depends on the time of year. Am I right? If you go in the summer, my son, his girlfriend, they just drove over there for the day to hang out at Virginia Beach. My son said, I will never go back here again. I will never. He said, I hate it. And I was like, why? He goes, you couldn't even find the water for all the people. But if you go to Virginia Beach, like right now, I know young people want to be there when it's hot and the surf's up and all that stuff. If you're our age, a lot of our ages on here, 40s, 50 something, Virginia Beach is really nice to go in November. They have wonderful places to eat there on the boardwalk that are heated. Where you're still kind of outside, but it's heated. And so the best seafood I've ever had on the East Coast. I can't remember the name. What's the name of that place, babe? Waterman's. Waterman's Seafood. It's kind of famous. It's expensive, but man, it's good seafood. And I got to thank my buddy Justin Thornton for that recommendation. He did a great job. Billy says, I hope my country joins WBA soon. Oh man. Yeah, that's another talk this year. Is it time? Is it time for the union to well, that is political though, isn't it? Is it time for the union to kind of divorce due to unreconcilable differences? With some states, I don't know. I watch that stuff and I go, we've been through hard times before. It has. People say it's never been this way before. It's never been exactly this way before. No, because everything changes over time. But we've had a lot of conflicts. If you were alive, none of us in here were, but if you were alive in the 1890s, things were tough in this country. Right after World War I, things were very divided and tough in this country. And I could go into several different times. The Knickerbocker Crisis, it's called the Knickerbocker Crisis of 1898, divided the country and tore it to pieces. The creation of the Federal Reserve, not to be conspiratorial or anything like that. This is fact. I mean, they passed the Federal Reserve Act it was actually at Christmas, it's a Christmas story. The story of the Federal Reserve. Oh, this is going to be I need to save that Vlogmas for another time. But the story of the Federal Reserve is a Christmas story, really, because they passed it on Christmas Eve when they knew everybody had gone home. And so they met the legislation that they knew that could get people to pass it, got together and passed it on Christmas Eve. Juan Thomas says, looks like you have a nice crowd tonight, Mr. Billy. I do indeed. I'm very grateful for the crowd that we have. Wonderful crowd, and hoping you guys will. Listen, here's the thing. This gets better. Here's what I've learned about Vlogmas, because last year is the first year that we did it all the way through and stayed faithful. We did Vlogmas the year before, but I wasn't exactly faithful to the Vlogmas thing. This year, we're going to remain faithful. We're going to stick to it. We're going to do it just like we did last year. It gets more fun as time goes on, especially if you go back. And it depends on how the chat room's going, what is it called? The chat. Is it called a chat room still? I mean, I'm thinking AOL circa 2001, 2, 3, and 4. I don't know. But whatever you call this over here where people talk, it gets better when people are talking, like you guys are doing tonight, talking. Juan Thomas, I'd say Juan and Bren and Billy, some of you guys are so faithful to the channel, and I'm so grateful for that, man. Sometimes we make videos. I'm not kidding you this. I've told Bren this before and a few others that some of the things that we shoot sometimes, especially this past year in 2021, when we say we're making a video just for you, we really mean that. Like we're thinking, okay, Bren will like this shot. We say it out loud. I mean, we'll say, hey, Bren will like this. Hey, and in the winter, we're thinking Juan, because Juan loves snow. So it's like, okay, I remember last year I went to Skyline Drive, and Skyline Drive was closed, but you could park and get out and walk Skyline Drive. And I didn't know it was a thing. Like a lot of people do that. So I went up there, and I went up there just for one because I knew he liked snow. He's like me. He loves it. He's like a big kid. He loves snow. So, you go out there and film that. Jessica Harris is in the house. It's always good to see one of our daughters. Hello, daughter. We love you so much, and so glad that you're joining us. We need to get Jessica on here and get her to talking. Jessica goes to our church, and she's on our praise team. She works with our children's ministry. She's absolutely wonderful. Man, our student ministry is fantastic. All of them are amazing. We got an amazing church. And if you're in the Harrisonburg area, if you're in Virginia, you need to stop by. Let us know first so we can at least, be good to you and love to. We're good to everybody, but show you some special attention, man, just if you stop by. Brengie says, you know me so well without ever meeting you. That's why I love you and Carolyn and your channel so much. Oh, that's a Hallmark moment. I need to save that and hit the record button and save that moment. Jessica says, yes, that would be fun. It would be. I think it would be great. Last year, Justin Thornton we had him play the trumpet. We interviewed him a little bit and had him play some trumpet solo. We got to go to Justin's recital this past year. That would have been cool to have captured for this video too. I wish. What's that? Oh, because of copyrighted music. That's a really good point. You go to his recitals, you can't record anything. The arrangements, even some of the student arrangements, they're still copyrighted, so you can't capture anything. So we still got people checking in, and so I want to welcome you guys. Make sure you leave a comment, and everybody hitting that like button is wonderful. We really do appreciate that. That helps the algorithm push that. By the way, if you're in the chat room right now, what does the word algorithm mean? No wrong answers. Everybody's answer is going to be considered right. Let's just see how funny we can be with the term algorithm. What does the word algorithm mean? Come on. Let's do this thing. Let's see what you got. Back to West Virginia. If I could find a location in West Virginia to do a live stream, I would love to do a live stream at Snowshoe and be there at 9:30 overlooking the ski resort there. Last year when Carol and I went, it's one of my favorite videos. It's a popular video. It hit last year. It hit in season, which our videos are odd. They'll start out at 150 views, 100, sometimes 80. And then 6 months later, you go back and look and it'll say 4,000, 5,000. You're like, what? Snowshoe hit within days of releasing it. The timing of it, I guess, was good. I'm not sure. But we had a great, it was a great video. One of my favorite videos. Brengie says checks and balance. Kind of. I'll call it, yeah, because it does provide checks and balances. I mean, it does. Somebody else, come on. What does the term algorithm mean? Is anybody else going to give this a try? Algorithm. No Googling. If you Google it, everybody's going to know it. Everybody in here is going to know it. Juan Thomas says it means putting your channel at the top. Well, it does if I do it right? Justin Thornton, what's up? Were your ears itching? Because I literally just mentioned your name. Were you in here when I mentioned your name? He says the hat is back. Indiana Jones who? Also got rhythm? Algorithm? Yeah, it's a rock band. Algorithm. No? Okay. I thought so. Anybody else? Come on. Is Snowshoe the place that does snowmobile rental tours? I'm pretty sure I saw a sign that said that. And Snowshoe's not far at all from Highland Scenic Highway. Of course, none of those places are far apart the way a crow flies, as we would say back in Southeast Tennessee. Though they're all geographically close. It's just when you have to get on a road, it's going to take you an hour plus to get anywhere or two all over the Monongahela National Forest because of the roads. Justin said he just got on there. But when I was talking to you about last year about having Justin play trumpet, that's Justin right there. Everybody say hello to Justin as well. So Snowshoe, I think they do snowmobile rentals, but I think the focus there, it's skis. It's skiing, and it's not like Gatlinburg. And I'm not trying to crack on Gatlinburg. It's my home state. Tennessee's my home state. I love Gatlinburg, but it's not a real ski resort. Neither is Boone. Boone used to claim to be the ski resort of the South, but whatever you want to call it, global warming, whatever, they just had a long time period with no snow. And Gatlinburg the same. So, all of those guys have kind of pivoted away from focusing on skiing. I guess the best way to say it is Snowshoe is a real authentic ski resort. I think the other day they got 4 inches of snow, every day of the week. And they make snow every day of the week starting in late October. So it's, when you get there, it's absolutely miserable cold. And everybody walks around in ski clothes. If you go to Gatlinburg, you have to understand why I'm bringing that up. You're like, well, duh, Bill, they're wearing ski clothes because it's a ski resort. Yeah, but see, you can go to Boone, North Carolina and Gatlinburg, and people are out there in hunting clothes, like camouflage, BDUs, jeans, and they had the ski boots on that they rented there, and they fall down the hill, because they're good old boys and good old girls, and they're not used to snow, and they really just go there to see snow. But West Virginia, people, like around Snowshoe and whatnot, Canaan Valley, they also have a ski resort. Canaan Valley, that they really ski. They're good. Dennis Jackson says they're making snow at Ober-Gatlinburg. Making snow. Well, that's the thing, because it never snows there anymore. It does, but not like I guess it did when I was a kid. Even though I don't remember, we didn't live in that part of Tennessee. We lived in Chattanooga or Cleveland. And it's obviously 3 hours south, so it's obviously warmer. So I'm wondering, I don't know how the snow has been over the past 10 years. I haven't really kept up with it. It seemed like there for a while. Carolyn and I used to take the kids to Gatlinburg, because if you live where we lived in Chattanooga, Cades Cove is about 2.5 hours away. And so after you go to Cades Cove, you could go eat in Gatlinburg and be home. And that was a Saturday. You could take a Saturday to just go to Gatlinburg and come back. And it was a fun Saturday. The kids would sleep on the way back. You know how it works. And it seemed like when we would go up there in the winter, there was always it was always snowing. So maybe in the past 10 or 15 years, there's been an increase in the snow. It's just that Ober-Gatlinburg has gone downhill so much. No pun intended. Get it? Anyway, dad humor. The older I get, the worse my dad humor is getting. Dennis Jackson says they're making snow. And we were talking about Snowshoe. Snowshoe is also, you need to have a little bit of money when you visit. It's not where I would go. It's not a mountain getaway place. That would be the only downside, I would say, to somebody visiting Snowshoe in the winter for the sake of visiting Snowshoe. Unless you just like driving around in the snow. And if you're a Southern boy like me, you love snow because you didn't see it as much as a kid. So yeah, you'd probably really enjoy it for that. But as far as anything to do other than skiing, no, that's what they do. Again, I think they do rent snowmobiles, but I thought they rented snowmobiles somewhere around Highland Scenic Highway too, if I'm not mistaken. They do. Carolyn's nodding her head. That little town there at the bottom of Highland Scenic Highway. And I can't remember. Marlinton, West Virginia. I'm pretty sure there's a place there where you can rent snowmobiles. And that whole area of West Virginia, Marlinton, it's all butted up there against the Cranberry Wilderness, the largest wilderness in West Virginia. And that's a place, again, if you want to see Bigfoot and aliens, if Bigfoot and aliens aren't in Cranberry Wilderness, they should be. They're missing a great place. They're missing good real estate because you're in the middle of nowhere. Darkest skies east of the Mississippi would be in Cranberry Wilderness. Spruce Knob, fantastic place for stargazing. Spruce Knob is. Now, Spruce Knob is, if you're driving, it's about 2 hours from Highland Scenic Highway, but way a crow flies, probably 45 minutes. Mountain towns, man, you got to drive. I mean, you're driving little zigzaggy roads. There are no 4-lane roads through there. It's just a little 2-lane road everywhere you go, which is what I love about it. I hope it stays that way. I'd like for some, I would say, nicer accommodation. There's some nice accommodations, but I'd like some nicer accommodations, and I would love to find remote cabins. So, and that's what I want to finally get to tonight, because I want to share with you my heart. I want to share with you this fantasy thing that I have for my family that they think I'm crazy, and I want your input. Jessica Harris says Reddish Knob is great for stargazing. Yes, but Reddish Knob scares me. We'll explain. Carol and I will explain later. Reddish Knob is kind of a scary place for us. But Reddish Knob is also pretty cool. This is the fantasy. The fantasy is to have a cabin. Now, this cabin has to have running water. Okay, that's one thing. 3-bedroom cabins. It's got to be a 3-bedroom cabin. Running water, but it doesn't necessarily have to have power. But it does have to have hot water. And the reason why is because I want my family with me. And the women in the family just ain't going if there's no hot water. It's not happening. Just not happening. No cell phone service is preferable. None. No 5G, nothing like that. And to be able that this cabin on a mountaintop, there's nothing around you. You can't see anybody. You can't hear anybody. You've got a great view of nothing else but nature. And you can't hear anybody. And it's way off the road. Like you get off the road and the driveway, so to speak, or whatever you want to call it, to get to the cabin takes you a long way to get there. I called real estate companies in North Carolina trying to find this. They laughed at me. I tried places around Gatlinburg and Sevier County, Tennessee. They laughed at me. I have tried to find this place, this secluded cabin in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by nothing but nature, and everyone thinks that that makes me an axe murderer. She's laughing now. Because I think there's money. I'm telling you, I think there is money in somebody building this type of thing, where you are totally alone. There is nobody around you. No one's going to hear you scream. I mean, nobody. You're not going to hear anybody else's voice. And you got to heat with wood. You got to heat with wood. It's got to be a wood fireplace, something like that. And the reason why I think people will want to get back to that, even if they're not wanting to get back to that yet, they will, because technology is just bombarding us. Brent says, try Alaska. Brent, my wife is losing it now over there. She's absolutely losing it. Because my kids are like, even if you found this place, we're not going. They're like, we don't want to go to that. Justice says it sounds kind of axe murderish. I don't think it does. I think somebody needs to find. I will make a video for you, or a movie about this place, because I've got to find this. Somebody's got this. Alaska's too far. Alaska, because look, I think you could put a pretty good price tag on something that offers this kind of seclusion. I think you could charge a lot of money. I think people would pay $500, $600, $700 a night for that kind of seclusion. Maybe you do some little things like, again, hot water. Yes, you got to have hot water. What else did we say, Carol? No internet. Electricity, I'm mixed on, because there's such a fire hazard with people that aren't used to living with candles and lanterns and things like that. It's a fire hazard. I grew up where you had to be able to know how to carry a candle. I mean, there were still people when I was a kid that, yes, they had electricity, but they still pulled candles out all the time for stuff. There's a generation now, my kids included. It's not that they don't know how to light a candle, but how do you set up candles in the house where you have some light, without burning the house down? And that's kind of a skill that we don't really have anymore. Not the way we did. So you guys think I'm crazy for this? See, I think people, if you build this, they'll come. This is the real estate boom of the future. Isolation, Stephen King-ish. You could even sell it like that. Like, come here to write your haunted novel. Nobody lives here. I don't know. Nobody's around. But for me, it has to have a view. It has to have a view. This secluded place in the middle of nowhere, it does have to have a view. So I don't know. Nobody's got anything. Brent says, running water, solar power, and food. That would be my requirement, but it sounds awesome. Well, it sounds kind of like the Amish over in Berks Valley. Here was the thing I didn't talk about in the video. In Berks Valley, there's a sizable Amish community. And I'm not putting anybody's beliefs down. I have beliefs, they have beliefs, and I believe mine are right, and they do too. But if you're going to be against electricity and power in your house, shouldn't that include solar power? Now, I don't know if this particular Amish person or their whatever you want to call it, their establishment, I don't know if they were just backslidden Amish. They weren't really living right. Because, we got people, every denomination and every religion's got people that they may be that religion, but they're not really that religion, But every house there just about had solar panels. And I'm thinking, man, what would your forefathers say about you? You're slacking. Ed Hoffman says there's something to be said for the simpler life, simpler living. That's not crazy at all. I'd be up for that. See, Ed, you get it. You drive the motorcycle. You say you're out driving motorcycles, Highland Scenic Highway. Maybe you have to go up a dirt road. You have to turn down some kind of dirt road that leads you to this mountain. And the way it's built, because you can make this illusion without actually having to have tens of thousands of acres of empty space around you. You just face it towards the empty space, and you build it in a hollow in the mountain, so to speak, where there's nothing around you and you can't hear anything behind you, and that. There's also some landscaping tricks that you can do. But to make something like that to where you feel completely isolated. I'm telling you, I think that's the wave of the future. Dennis Jackson says, Teresa says she'll just stay in her camper with all the amenities. Yeah, listen, Carolyn and I have thought about a camper for that one reason, is because I keep wanting the seclusion thing. But I guess the seclusion thing that I'm going for is too secluded to take a camper too. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, think about that, because you might blow out your tires. It'd be bad. So, maybe not blow out your tires, but you could probably drag on the bottom. Bryn says, keep Bigfoot away. I'm telling you. Jessica Harris says, old order Amish is very strict about no electricity, but new order Amish makes accommodations to keep up with the times. So the new order, that's like Kylo Ren and Snoke and the Supreme Leader. Wait, that's the Force Awakens. So what you're saying is that the Force Awakens is really a type and shadow of the New Order Amish. Got it. Mark, what's up, man? You did, Mark, because we've been at it for an hour. It's good to see Mark from Boston. Always a pleasure. Mark is wonderful. Good to see you. Everybody say hi to Mark. Came here so late. Hey, Bill, do the Amish vote? Serious question. I don't know. That's what I was asking, because if you've got solar panels, if you're kicking solar panels, right, then, it's like, and you say you don't do electricity, it's like, come on, man, that's electricity. It's just, you're just getting it in a different way. I don't know about that. Oh, slackers. I'm just playing. They make the best hamburgers and food, though. That's where Carolyn and I ate at Book's Garden, is at Maddie's, and she was Amish. And they're the ones with the solar power. In fact, I charged my laptop on this solar-powered portable charger. They plugged it into their solar panels. It's like a big box, and she had one. It was hilarious. So yeah. So Maddie's hamburgers. Did you have a hamburger too?
We had the same thing.
Yeah, it was good. It was good stuff. Mm-hmm. They had beverages, they had Cokes and Pepsis, and I wanted to try some of their desserts. They had like apple pies and stuff like that looked really good. It's a fun trip. They call it God's Thumbprint. It's a really fun trip. Well, you guys are absolutely wonderful tonight. We've been at this an hour, but I promise you on future dates, we will go a lot longer and have a lot more fun. This is a great kickoff to Vlogmas. Juan Thomas, before we go, he says, go to Clarksdale, Arizona, and take the train to Perkinsville. And along the way, you'll see two houses that people do live in and live 100% off the grid. It's so nice and peaceful, and a nice train ride. Oh, wait, man, that sounds fun. We're dying to go back to Arizona. We just haven't had the opportunity. God hasn't opened that door to go back, but we would love to go back. It's one of our favorite states, period, in the entire U.S. But anyway, guys, I've had a great time tonight. I will see you about this same time tomorrow night. Bring your questions, your comments, your snide remarks, and your sarcasm. I want to hear it all. And we're going to have a wonderful time. I will see you all then.